Welcome to Player Profiler today with Biggs and Chev. Currently waiting on Chev, but I'm here with you for now. So as Li Shang said in Mulan, let's get down to business. All right, we had a bunch of games go off already. We had 3 games on the slate yesterday. By the way, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Better than mine. I have been sick for the last 4 days and missed the family goings on yesterday. So now I'm pulling myself out of bed and going to work today. So I got some turkey. I got some pumpkin pie. So it's all good. All right. So we had we had games yesterday. We had 3 games yesterday. We started off with the Bears Lions. Lions hang on to win 23-20 at home. They are 11-1 at the moment. DJ Moore, 8 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown to lead receivers. David Montgomery looked good, 21 carries for 88 yards. Caleb Williams led he and Jared Goff in the duel. 20 completions for 39 he was 20 of 39 for 256 yards and 3 touchdowns. And there's a couple questions, so that'll be our top story that I will address as soon as Chev gets here. He's dealing with some technical issues. We then watched the Giants and the Cowboys in a big old pillow fight. Cowboys defense was too good for Drew Lock. Who knew? Cooper Rush, 21 of 36 for 195 yards and a touchdown. Rico Dowdle, favorite of Matthew Kelly, founder of Player Profiler, 22 carries, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. A very, very nice day. Hope he was in your fantasy lineups. He was in mine. And Malik Neighbors led receivers with 8 catches for 69 yards. Nice. And looked every bit the playmaker he should be. Let's just get him a quarterback. And I think the Giants at 2-10 they're trying to tank. They're trying to get there so they can get the number 1 pick or number 2 pick because they have some serious competition from the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll get to that game in a minute. And then the nightcap was the Packers showing absolute dominance on the frozen tundra of Green Bay, Wisconsin. 30-17 over the Miami Dolphins. Tua had a nice game, 365 yards and 2 touchdowns on 37 of 46. It looked like the offense was okay. It was just the Miami defense was just not it. Josh Jacobs, 19 carries for 43 yards, which doesn't look great, but he did look like he was controlling the game as far as, what the Packers wanted to achieve, running the ball, controlling the game, controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage, using Josh Jacobs for that. He also added a touchdown. And then Jonnu Smith, who entered the day as tight end 1 in fantasy, 10 receptions, 113 yards, but then he was surpassed today by another guy. And again, we will talk about that in a second. Chev is here. So let's get down to business, as Li Shang said in Mulan. So
I'm getting really upset with the way the Raiders keep losing games.
Why?
You're supposed to win.
No, we're supposed to have hope and then be heartbroken. We'll get to that game in a second. We're going to talk about the Bears game first. I love Titans fans. We tank harder than you. All right. So the Thursday leadoff game yesterday was the Lions hosting the Bears. The Bears did not do well. They didn't score a point in the first half. And then Matt Eberflus was being interviewed as he's coming off the sideline. And he told the sideline reporter, our offense is going to pop off in the second half. At that point, he was down 16-0. And sure enough, they scored 20 second half points. The defense allowed a touchdown to the Lions, which made it the 3 points too big a lead to overcome. And then there was some controversy around the clock management at the end of the game. And this morning, Eberflus was fired, so that's our top story. Matt Eberflus fired, but the Bears brass allowed him to do a Zoom interview and just left him out to dry. However I want to say that, I'll figure it out at some point. And let him do the Zoom call before they representing the Bears before they went ahead and called him in and gave him his walking papers. This is a team. So there are two Chicago Bears items. And the first one that I want to get to is Eberflus. So number one, Eberflus, like he says the right things, and he's coming off the field and he's like, look, we have to deal with the man-to-man. We're going to talk about that at halftime, and our offense is going to pop off in the second half. And then the defense only allowed a second half touchdown. Meanwhile, we have seen the first 13 weeks of Caleb Williams, and it's not until the last couple that he's actually started to get things going. And part of that was the Shane Waldron firing, etc.
Yes.
So did Eberflus deserve to get the axe today?
Yes.
You think so? The team is coming around. They're playing better than they were before. No. Okay.
No. Okay. So, okay. Here's my problem. You're a tenured head coach at this point. Your quarterback is 21 years old. Regardless of how many 2-minute drills that he's run before, the rules are slightly different from college to NFL. He's played 11 games or whatever at this point. Do yourself a solid and just take the initiative to call the timeout. His media presence, while he did call his shot yesterday, like the way he handled the Hail Mary situation, the situational football that he played against, that he decided to play against the Commanders that ultimately sunk their season. Like, these are things that get you fired. I said immediately when they gave up the Hail Mary, and then in the post-game press conference afterwards, it was like, well, we didn't really care about them getting the sideline and getting an extra 15 yards because it's about the last play and not like – it's like NFL coaches are supposed to be type A, super duper like just anal retentive a-holes about everything. So the details seem to have been escaping him for far too long. And yesterday was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, because anybody with eyes could see, like, you need to bail your rookie quarterback out here, and you have to take charge of this, because ultimately it doesn't fall on him. It falls on you. You're not going to be a part of the organization. If this fails, he will. So
your recommendation for the Chicago Bears hiring head coach next year is John Gruden. Knock wood if you're with me.
It's Ben Johnson, so I can watch Caleb torture everyone in the NFC North for years upon years upon years. But they'll probably
everybody's leaning Ben Johnson. I have a sinking feeling, however, that similar to last year, if the Lions don't get to the Super Bowl, Ben Johnson isn't going anywhere. I think he and Dan Campbell have too good a relationship to break it up until they actually win a ring. So Chicago, better luck next time.
That's fair. And they're going to hire Kingsbury and ruin just – yeah.
My hope for them, even though and one of the networks I work for, we just launched our merch store today. And one of the items that we have is a white cap, and it has the Bears logo with the 2 bars and the script, and it's tears. My hope for them is UC Davis legend Ejiro Evero, current defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. I think he would be a perfect guy to go ahead and take that over, leave the offense to Caleb Williams, and go ahead and shore up that defense. And I think the Bears are in for some good years. They have some good years ahead. And that was the next item that I wanted to talk about. And that was the emergence in the last couple of weeks of Caleb Williams. So he wound up QB4 in fantasy last week. And then this week he goes ahead and he has 256 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's one of those things where going into the season, you kind of looked at him and went, okay, we know that he makes some mistakes. We know that he has processing issues. We know that he's going to need some time to mature in the league. But he also has a fantastic spread of weapons in front of him. And Keenan Allen, who is, a Hall of Fame possession receiver. Whether or not he makes it to the Hall of Fame that's not what I'm saying. He's a Hall of Fame caliber possession receiver. Rome Odunze was number 1 on the number 2 team in the nation last year, and DJ Moore has been underrated his entire career. On top of that, he has Cole Kmet, who's a top 10 tight end every year, and then he's got DeAndre Swift, who we saw do amazing things in Detroit, and Roschon Johnson, who's an up-and-comer in that backfield. He's got the weapons around him. He came into a good situation. He struggled, and I want to pin the Bears' struggles this season on the maturation of Caleb Williams, and say ownership should have given Eberflus a longer leash. At least let him finish the season, see what they were going to do next year. I understand like the game management stuff. It's the same thing that got Brandon Staley run out of Chicago. Yeah. And also Anthony, whatever his name is, that was Anthony Lynn, Brandon Staley's predecessor, did the same damn thing. We're coming into the 2-minute offenses or the 2-minute defenses, whichever. And it was like literally 2-minute losses, final 2-minute losses to the Raiders a couple times that led to the firings of both of those guys, on top of the myriad other things that they were responsible for as far as management. So I get it, but as a head coach, the way I see it is it's more of kind of an ornamental role. Like you're a guy who's out there and you are responsible for putting generals underneath you who are going to command their squads. And I think the general manager creates the personnel, and then the head coach directs each of the different squadrons to do the right thing. I understand there is head coach play calling and stuff, but it's incumbent on the offensive coordinator to have his position coaches get the right packages out there. Incumbent upon the defensive coordinator to have his position coaches get the right packages out there in the right situations. Everything has to be a well-oiled machine. I think if Eberflus has a flaw, it's that he hasn't put together a well-oiled machine. But it doesn't mean that
that's the fatal flaw. And I say that because of the fact that you watched what he let political relationships, in my opinion, like his relationship with Shane Waldron and that hire, it was never a fit for Caleb Williams' skill set or the personnel that they brought in. Like you had the defensive aspect under control over the, going back to when they traded for Montez Sweat, they had been one of the stingiest defenses in the NFL from a yardage perspective. And then they improved in the red zone the back half of last year into this year, and they had turned into a run funnel. I think the biggest issue was the fact that they hired Shane Waldron. That was never a fit. On top of hiring Shane Waldron, they then did not adapt any of the concepts, they weren't using their key personnel, the guys they have all the money tied up into, in a manner in which, like, you go out and pay DeAndre Swift, you're using Roschon Johnson. You go out and you give DJ Moore an extension, and you're just lining him up in one spot in the formation where he's not his most effective. You're splitting reps between Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett for what? And then you're not controlling the controllables to the best of your ability via game management and situational football. So I think that the failings of the previous years, combined with the fact that he had some situations that should have gone his way this year that did not go his way, were ultimately his undoing. Well, so I agree with everything you said. And then I think that he made all the wrong hires. And I think the Bears, the organization, made the wrong hire hiring him in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And it's tough for head coaches. We've seen head coach failures in the past that were resurrected a little bit later on. Bill Belichick is the prime example of that. Didn't have the greatest time as the head coach in Cleveland. Goes away, comes back, has a better idea of what he needs to do to create the situation to win, the environment to win, and builds the Patriots into an absolute juggernaut. One of the things that you and I have gone back and forth, I've talked about the Julian Edelman podcast, Games with Names. You sent me a clip of the other one that he does with Gronk. I have a real hard time listening to Gronk talk, but the Games with Names I really love.
He's improving. He's improving. To be fair, it is improving incrementally.
He's funny, and I'm not talking about unintentional comedy. I'm talking about the jokes he makes are funny, and his pride when he makes them are funny. But yeah, it's a hard listen for me. But the Games with Names I love, and I love the fact that they have former Patriots and the stories that they tell about the Patriots organization during the dynasty are just phenomenal. And I really hope that Belichick comes back and finds a job in the league next year, and perhaps hires Eberflus as his defensive coordinator. All right, the next item that I want to get to also involves that game. Caleb Williams had his struggles in the first half of the season. It looks like the game is slowing down for him. He's making, although he's not, he is not making great decisions on 100% of his plays. He's making fewer bad decisions. Are you comfortable in calling Caleb Williams at this point, given his last 2 weeks' performance against fairly good defenses? He's now a top 12 quarterback in the NFL.
Yes.
Already.
I don't know if you know this or if we've discussed this at all, but I am a Caleb Williams believer. Like I'm fully peeled up, keyed up for Caleb Williams. Like my comp for him coming out of college was Aaron Rodgers, my favorite quarterback of all time. So
shout out Cal Bears.
Yeah. So I've been a believer in the talent 100% all the way through. I was really bullish on him because of the fact that they were giving him all these weapons. I did not like Shane Waldron, but I thought he might be able to overcome Shane Waldron. But that was not the case. I think over the course of the last, since they fired Thomas Brown, since they brought Thomas Brown in and made him the play caller, he was there. They just made him the play caller. I think that you're seeing them make the game easier for him, give him more easy checkdowns and stuff, because they were asking him to do too much initially. And with any quarterback, the more that you ask them to do, the more that they have to be special. Like you're threading the eye of a needle to complete NFL passes at a high level. That's just what it is. So if you're asking him, hey, throw this deep in cut 12 to 15 yards from the line of scrimmage with no threat of a run game, and you have to hit that dude in the face mask and make it stick between his eyes, that's a low percentage bet. So what they've done is give DJ Moore way more targets near the line of scrimmage. His ADOT's lowered drastically. He had 16 targets yesterday. You're using Keenan Allen in the ways that he is a Hall of Fame possession receiver, right? And they're trying to figure it out with Rome Odunze. It's not. I don't think it's going to click this year, but for the future, that is going to be that could be another Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers type connection. I think that everything that they're doing now is geared towards making it easier for him, and then he can do the spectacular stuff where he's threading the ball between two safeties for a 30-yard touchdown to Keenan Allen, or scrambling around and escaping the pocket, and then at the last second dumping the ball off to DeAndre Swift. See these plays, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is. I don't want to say Mahomes.
Say it, Mahomes-esque.
But that's what I think of when I see him play. That's what I thought of when I saw him play at USC, and he has those moments now. I don't know that anybody's going to win at the clip that Mahomes did coming out of the gate ever again. So, I believed in the talent all the way. I started seeing people saying that Bo Nix is the best quarterback in the class, or between he and Jaden Daniels, it's not even close. And I'm like, guys, y'all's ball knowledge has got to get better, because this is
I am on record as saying Caleb Williams is the talent of the class. Jaden Daniels will be better immediately.
Yes, and better for fantasy without question. I'm with you. I was with you there.
Yeah, and Jaden, he's good. He's super good. Caleb, what I saw at USC was the elements that he is showing in the NFL, and I imagined that it would take a little bit longer for him to start showing that. He's ahead of schedule in my opinion. I knew the talent was there. I thought the processing was going to take a little bit longer. He's getting it a little bit quicker than it looked like he was getting it. That might have been just his offense at USC. Obviously, the recruiters at Oklahoma who had Spencer Rattler in their back pocket knew what they were doing when they went out and they grabbed Caleb Williams. They saw something special. They knew that it could be, knew that it could blossom into Mahomes-esque quarterback play. Speaking of Mahomes, it's a great segue to today's game, and I hope you all watched it because everybody out there in football fandom who hates the Chiefs and hates that they win when they shouldn't and hates the fact that they have now 13, it's 13 or 14, I don't know what they had before, it was 12, maybe it's 13 now, consecutive wins within a touchdown, which is like the best of all time or whatever. They host the Raiders. The Raiders looked like they were starting to move the ball a little bit. Sincere McCormick, who I shouted out. I could not find where I shouted out, so it's got to have been a show where I just threw his name out there a couple weeks ago. 12 carries for 64 yards. Aiden O'Connell, who we knew should have been the starting quarterback in week 1, 23 of 35 for 340 yards and 2 touchdowns, controlled the ball. The defense showed up, one touchdown, 4 field goals for the Chiefs, and the Raiders had the ball in the last minute of the game, driving after a third down stop and a Chiefs punt. The Raiders were within field goal range. They had a third down play. A backup practice squad guard reached over and tapped the rookie center before he should have. Jackson Powers Johnson snapped the ball. Aiden O'Connell wasn't ready. The ball bounced off him. Chiefs recover the fumble. 11 seconds left. They win the game. All of you guys out there who hate the Chiefs as much as I do, even if you're not part of Raider Nation, you're Raider Nation adjacent. Now you know the pain of being a Raiders fan. Except we keep pace with the Giants for the number 1 pick. Ha, 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 ha. Hopefully we get a Jags win this weekend. We'll talk about that in a second. What did you think about A, the game, B, the Chiefs pull it out, and C, Aiden O'Connell's legit, you guys. There's no need for taking a quarterback in the top 5.
Yeah, please don't take a quarterback in the top 5. Stick with Aiden O'Connell. He's your guy. It's great. Fantastic. Love it. Love it.
Hey, he may be 1 against the Chiefs, but he's 1 and against the Chiefs. So there's not a lot of Raiders quarterbacks that can say that.
No, I think that the Chiefs kind of sleptwalk through this game. Their O-line definitely is becoming Wanya Morris, or Boys to Men legend, is becoming an issue rapidly. Caleb Von Chason, shout out to North Shore High School in Houston, Texas.
And LSU, baby.
Yeah. Well, I say that because also Sincere McCormick was coached by my buddy who's the head coach at UTSA. He coached Caleb Von at North Shore High School as well. I think that the Chiefs are gradually working their way towards disappointing their fans in the most heartbreaking of fashions in the playoffs. Like, you can't keep winning these games that you shouldn't win like this and expect for that to continue to run out unless you genuinely believe Mahomes is the luckiest quarterback of all time. Like, this is just setting them up for the ultimate heartbreak. Like, you can't feel good. you can't feel good about the way that they won the game today. They got dominated in the trenches. I mean, once Aiden O'Connell got his footing, he hits Trey Tucker, which shout out to you because you called this out weeks and weeks and weeks ago when Aiden O'Connell was initially named the starter. They have that deep ball chemistry, Aiden O'Connell and Trey Tucker do. And then once he got into a rhythm and just started hyper-targeting Brock Bowers, the offense worked. Go figure. So I don't think the Chiefs are playing their best ball right now. I think they keep getting lucky, and that's ultimately going to cause them to fail in the most crucial of moments. They couldn't get their run game going today. They couldn't protect Mahomes. Once Aiden O'Connell got it going, they couldn't stop Aiden O'Connell. I think, they play a better team. That's a 7 to 10 point loss.
Yeah, I think next year, with a full year of maturation of the offensive line, I think the Raiders win that game handily. Some of the surprises: number one, the Raiders actually rushed for 116 yards against this Chiefs defense, who had been holding everybody down. And Sincere McCormick led everybody with 64 yards rushing.
That's the first running back to go over 55 yards against them all season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and by himself, he outrushed the Chiefs. And then another big surprise, and this is a surprise for me as a Raiders fan. Terrace Marshall got a target for the Raiders. I didn't even know that Terrace Marshall.
I didn't know he played for the Raiders. I didn't know he was back in the NFL.
Neither did I.
Good for him, man.
And I literally have a Raiders show and and I do my research and follow everything very closely. And somehow the Terrace Marshall signing just totally missed me. All right, let's take a quick break.
It deserved to miss you. Like what? Like why on earth would we talk about Terrace Marshall?
Because he's been a thing before. All right.
I'll tell you this. Okay, so
yeah.
Chuba Hubbard last week went over 55 yards. He had 58. Nobody's rushed for more than 58. No individual rusher. Chuba Hubbard and Jordan Mason. So shout out to Sincere McCormick for going over 64 yards. Well, having 64 yards rushing today.
Yeah, and shout out to Alexander Madison and Zamir White to having the forethought to miss the game due to injury. That there's one person that I know who pre-draft pre-53-man roster was like, Sincere McCormick, let's go. And that was my kid. I found it. Yeah, I found a text that he sent me during training camp, and he was like, I want Sincere McCormick to be our RB3. And I was like, good luck with that. And turns out, don't sleep on the University of Texas off campuses. UTSA doing good things. El Paso does good things. They put out some ballers. All right, we're gonna take a break and then get to the games real quick. You're watching Player Profiler today.
Oh, incredible news about Fast Draft. Fast Draft DFS is live. It's called the Flex 6 Frenzy. You just draft 6 guys, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends for the Sunday slate. You like Jahmyr Gibbs? You like Jackson Smith-Njigba? You like Tyrone Tracy? Draft him. And the beauty is you can just order 5 teams, submit your rankings, and Fast Draft will email you the results. We awarded $1,000 in prizes our first week, and we're just going up from there. Soon there's going to be a select 6. No drafting at all. You just pick any 6 guys. Our DFS mantra, just say no to salaries on Fast Draft. Don't forget there's free tools on Fast Draft too. You want to get ready for startup season? We've created the best Dynasty mock draft experience there is. And if you want to play in these DFS contests and our best ball contest for 2025 coming very soon too, just use promo code PODFATHER when you deposit and you get a free draft. It's that easy. And you're like, oh, I already have Fast Draft. Great. Refer a friend. Have them put your username in as the promo code, and then you and your friend will both get an instant deposit match up to $25. We got DFS. We got Dynasty Mocks. We got Best Ball. It's all there for you on fastdraft.app. Check it out. And the promo code is PODFATHER.
All right. So in case you've been like the last 3 days scrambling to the grocery store, in the kitchen, trying to put a turkey together, all that stuff, or you're just coming out of your food coma. We talked about the Matt Eberflus firing. We talked about the games on the slate for the first 4 games. Bears lost to the Lions. The Cowboys outlasted the Giants. The Packers beat the Dolphins, and today the Raiders won a heartbreaking loss against the Chiefs to keep pace ahead of the Tennessee Titans in the draft race. You're welcome. Now we'll get to the games. Start with the Los Angeles Chargers. Probably currently en route to Atlanta. They're 7-4, taking on the Falcons, who are 6-5. J.K. Dobbins is out. Denzel Perryman is out. Cam Hart is out. Alohi Gilman is out. And Dion Henley is questionable. Somebody in one of my leagues picked up Dion Henley, and I said, and so on Sleeper it says D Henley, and I said, if you don't give him the nickname Boy of Summer, we're gonna have hands. And all right, Chargers go in and do enough to win. Yes?
No.
No.
Right. I want to believe that that's going to happen, but I feel like with the injuries to the linebacker position, this could lead to a big game from Drake London in the slot, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan running wild, and the Chargers find a way to lose this game.
Darnell Mooney.
I mean, look. I'm a Drake London denier, so it pained me to say that. But
yeah, big week, he's healthy.
I really think that the Falcons are going to find a way to win this game.
And they're 1.5-point dogs, so take the underdog, the home dog.
Also as well too, you know the rule, West Coast team traveling east.
Yeah.
Playing 3 time zones ahead. I don't like that.
Especially on a holiday weekend where they didn't practice on Thursday. They were home with their families and all that stuff. Probably trying to get a makeup practice in tomorrow and then maybe travel if they didn't travel today to get a practice in Atlanta tomorrow. Traveling is brutal in the NFL. That's Chev's rule. For the Falcons, Jace McClellan and Mike Hughes are out. Younghoe Koo, kicker injury, he's questionable. All right, then we have the 8-3 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the 4-7 and resurgent Cincinnati Bengals. It's a divisional game. We got Montravius Adams and Corey Trice Jr. out for the Steelers. Alex Highsmith is trying to work his way back from an ankle injury. He is doubtful. For the Bengals, Sheldon Rankins is out with an illness. Charlie Jones, doubtful. Orlando Brown and Logan Wilson are questionable. Steelers going to Cincinnati, win a squeaker.
Steelers by 10.
Steelers by 10. All right, and they are 3-point dogs. So they got that. It's a toss-up game because it's a division matchup. Vegas thinks it's going to be a squeaker, but listen to Chev. He thinks it's going to be Steelers domination.
Yeah, I think this is a George Pickens legacy game.
I feel like we say that every week.
No, I mean, well, we got robbed of it last week because it started snowing. He got 4 for 47 in the first half, and then it started snowing, and they were like, hey, you know what we should do? We should throw the ball with Justin Fields. That seems like a great idea. Like,
that was a fun game.
I think that, well, one, George has like 12 for 340 and 3 in his career against the Bengals in 3 games where he's actually played snaps. The first game, he was like 1 for 3. So 11 for 336 and 3 in his career against the Bengals. And they've allowed like their secondary is buns, just absolute buns. So I think that this is going to end up being more of a shootout. But I like the Steelers to win because they'll be able to control the game with the run game.
All right, and you don't see much from Chase Brown?
Chase Brown's playing all the snaps. I think he's going to do well, but I just don't think that – I think that the Steelers are more equipped to stop the run than the Bengals are.
Okay. And, the only thing that I will say is I will never count out Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
No, I mean, it very well – like I said, it could be a shootout, but – do you have faith in the Bengals secondary to get stops when they need them?
No, but I do have faith that the Pittsburgh Steelers can fail when they need to succeed.
You're right.
In the passing game.
Right.
All right. Let's see. For the next game, we have the Houston Texans in another divisional matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Foley Fadukasi and Jalen Petre are out for the Texans. Xavier Hutchinson is questionable, as is his future. For the Jaguars, Yasir Abdullah is out and Trevor Lawrence is questionable, although he's doing everything that he can to play. Jacksonville is, let's see, 5-point dogs. I say Jaguars in an upset.
I like that. I think the Texans find a way to win this. Never mind. Yeah, give me the Jags in the upset. Jags money line. Yeah, we're done with the nonsense. I can't in good faith put any faith in the Texans at this point, even though I should maybe because it's the Jags. But no, give me the Jags.
I only said that because I want the Jags to go away.
Never mind, then. Jags cover, Texans win.
All right, and Tank Bigsby practiced in full on Wednesday. He's healthy, so they have their two-headed monster. Travis Etienne is healthy as well. Evan Ingram is healthy. If Trevor Lawrence can play, I think we finally, for the first time, see a fully loaded Jacksonville Jaguars team, and they might surprise. All right, and then we have the Cardinals traveling to Minnesota. Amari DiMercado, Darius Robinson, Joey Blount, and Jalen Thompson are questionable for the Cardinals. Josh Oliver and Jay Ward are out for the Vikings. Cam Robinson, former Jaguar, is questionable. Cam Robinson, one of the biggest college football players I've ever seen. When he was at Alabama, he was just a monster statue of a man. Yes. Arizona, I've talked about many, many times before. They win the games that they shouldn't, and they lose the games that they should win. They're on the road. They're going up against a Minnesota team who seems to be in the driver's seat for a wild card spot in that North Division. Perfect trap game for the Vikings.
I think so. And I'm looking at the implied point totals. It says that they're a 3.5-point favorite. I think that I've been on this train for a while now. I think the wheels are starting to fall off in Arizona, but I think this is going to be a shootout, and I think the Vikings are going to win, but Arizona covers, and this goes over 44.5.
Well, based on my narrative, I say the Cardinals come out with a victory. I think James Conner, even though Minnesota has one of the toughest 2 or 3 run defenses in the NFL, we saw what happened to the Chiefs today, and I think James Conner can do enough to kind of control the line of scrimmage, and Trey Benson too. I think, and Kyler Murray. I think they have what it takes to just be spoilers, and I'm going with Arizona in this one.
I mentioned that this is a correction week for James Conner since he only got 7 touches last week too.
Oh, revenge game.
Yeah.
Revenge game.
I think they're going to correct that.
All right, we got the Colts and the Patriots. Josh Downs was ruled out today. That's why he made the thumbnail. Ashton Doolin is out as well. Tanner Bortolini, who I wanted in the draft. Braden Smith, they are out as well. And Alec Pierce is questionable. For the Patriots, Cole Strange is out. We're down to just one missing offensive lineman. And then Demario Douglas, Vidarian Lowe, Dietrich Wise, Jacqueline Roy, Christian Thomas, Anthony Jennings, Sione Takitaki, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers. The weekly questionable list is intact. But only one offensive lineman out and only one other who actually has an injury designation. Plus, we got Drake May. So this is going to be the battle of last year's rookie quarterback darling against this year's rookie quarterback sleeper. Who you got in this one?
I've got the Colts. And I feel like, I've got the Colts, and I feel like this is going to be a breakout game. If no Josh Downs, I feel like this is going to be a breakout game for Adonai Mitchell and Anthony Richardson.
Okay, that's an interesting take because Adonai Mitchell has looked absolutely terrible until the last couple weeks, but they need somebody in the slot to work on the inside with Alec Pierce running wind sprints, and Jonathan Taylor's probably going to have a fairly big game, and Indianapolis controls things. They're 3-point favorites on the road, which is very telling. I think I tend to agree with you as Indy wins.
So the last time the only time that Adonai's played a full share of snaps, he went 6 for 6 for 94 yards. So I think that if he ends up on Marcus Jones or Jonathan Jones or whoever the other corner is for the Patriots, I think he's going to be able to create some separation, and if they just give him the ball, it's going to work out pretty well.
Now, this is the first in the next four games in the slate are all punchy 3-win teams who better not do anything like mess around and lose this week. I'm hoping for all of them to win, including the Patriots. We have the Seahawks traveling to New York Jets. 6-5 Seahawks, 3-8 Jets. Seahawks, Brady Russell and AJ Finley are questionable. DK Metcalf is full go. For the Jets, Tyron Smith is out. Breece Hall is dealing with an injury. Jake Hansen, Xavier Newman-Johnson, CJ Mosley, and Chuck Clark, along with Breece Hall, are all questionable. Seahawks, I feel like they just have a little too much. A lot of times the AFC teams don't know what they're dealing with the quality of play in the NFC. I got Seattle in this one.
I don't love it, but I love it. We're going Seattle.
And let's look at this real quick.
It goes against my rule, but I'll go against my rule this time because the answer this year is never the Jets, not even if there's a fire.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. The Jets have been vulnerable. They've been okay in the passing game, but they've also been vulnerable. I mean, anytime you have Sauce on one side, part of it's going to get shut down. I see a big game from JSN, and I don't know if the Jets can stop Kenneth Walker. I've watched their run defense in a few of their last few games, and I don't think they can stop Kenneth Walker.
No, he's one of my favorite fantasy plays this week, too.
Absolutely.
I think he and JSN have huge days, and the Jets lose at home again.
They are home dogs. All right. The next three-win team that better not get punchy, mess around, and lose. Tennessee Titans, 3-8 on their way to the Commanders, 7-5, who have been on a jag in the last month. For the Titans, Leroy Watson and Chidobe Awuzie are out. Tyjae Spears is questionable. For the Commanders, he practiced in full today. All right. And then for the Commanders, Austin Eckler is out. Andrew Wiley is out. Marshawn Lattimore is doubtful. I think that plays a lot into what can happen. And Brian Robinson, no injury designation in this one. Neither an injury designation for Jeremy McNichols.
Tyler Biadasz?
Tyler Badass. Nope. And Tennessee Titans on the road against Jaden Daniels. It's Will Levis versus Jaden Daniels. That's a big spread. Commanders are 5.5-point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I think Washington wins. Tennessee covers.
I hope that's what I hope. But breaking down the way that the Commanders are choosing to play offense right now, and the fact that what they would like to do to win a football game, they're not going to be able to do very well. You saw a Tennessee run defense hold Joe Mixon to 15 carries for 22 yards last week. It's going to come down to Jaden Daniels making money throw after money throw in tight coverage to Terry McLaurin. And if they don't get an 86-yard touchdown, who knows how this goes. So
Yeah.
I would like to believe that my Titans would win this one. However, I'm also believing in the 3M Mayo Madman memer, Will Levis, to just deliver me Cam Ward. Deliver me Cam Ward. That's all I want. Yeah, just go ahead, give us another meme. Give us another meme, and let's get out of here.
Who's the Titans GM?
Rand Carthen.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to get on the phone with Tom Telesco. You get on the phone with Rand Carthen, and we will make this happen. Go ahead and let the Titans take Cam Ward.
Thank you. That's all I want. That's all I want. Just I need to continue losing so that we can get Cam Ward.
Now, one of the most underrated aspects of this Tennessee Titans team has been their defense. It seems like they play really well and they shut down teams, but they find ways to lose. And I did have a train of thought with that I'm trying to remember. I was supposed to be on a show on Wednesday. Shout out Greg Kellogg and Tip Major. I couldn't because I've been sick. But my 2 fantasy plays for the week were start Jacoby Myers, 15 points today, not too bad, and then sit Terry McLaurin. I feel like Tennessee has enough in the defensive backfield to shut McLaurin down, leaving this Brian Robinson in the passing game and Jane Daniels with his feet to do just enough. But I feel like they do just enough.
Yeah, I mean, as a collective, the Titans allow the most rushing yards to quarterbacks on the season, like per game. So this is going to be a big game from Jaden Daniels via his legs. You saw he started to run around a little bit more last week. I think his ribs are fully healed. So if they're gonna win, it's gonna come on the back of Jaden Daniels' legs and potentially 16 targets to Zach Ertz.
Making myself an underdog note to take the Jaden Daniels over.
Jaden Daniels rushing over. Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. Next 3-8 team. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a division matchup. They're 5-6, just crazy. Going into Carolina to face the Panthers, who are 3-8. For the Buccaneers, and this might be one of the reasons they're 5-6. Marquise Watts is out. Tyke Smith is out. Jordan Whitehead is out. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is doubtful. Tristan Wirfs, Anthony Nelson, and Troy Hill are questionable. It's a lot of injuries. But then again, for the Panthers, Jalen Coker and Jatavian Sanders were ruled out today. Amari Barno, Jadeveon Clowney, Caleb Farley, and Nick Scott are all questionable. Tampa Bay, I mean, it's Mike Evans and Saquon Barkley. It's Rachaad White. I don't think Carolina has enough to hold them off. And Tampa wins. Correct.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Huge favorites, though.
I think this goes over, though. Way over.
20.5 and 26.5. So 6-point favorites. Tampa Bay is 6-point favorites on the road.
I think this goes way over, and I think that the Panthers are going to cover at home.
I don't know about I would love to see, I'm not going to look it up now, but I would love to see Carolina's the number of times they've covered as underdogs this year, because I think it would surprise me.
I mean, you got last week, and then they won the game outright in Germany, so that's 2. That's 2 off the top of my head. We can keep going. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they haven't been favored in a game all year.
Right. That's what I mean. And they beat the Raiders when they were dogs. That I feel like they've been one of those sneaky bets that they cover when they're not supposed to, which means that they're not as terrible as their record or everybody thinks. Plus, it's a divisional matchup. It's a home game. I say Buccaneers win and points on Carolina.
Yeah. So real quick, I've got it pulled up here. Giants, Panthers, they were obviously dogs there. They covered. Chiefs, Panthers, they covered there. Saints, Panthers, they covered there. They did not cover against the Broncos. Did not cover against the Commanders.
Okay.
Did not cover against the Falcons, Bears, or Bengals. So that leaves us with they've covered 5 times as an underdog this year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm telling my boss I might be a little late to work. But I just need to get out of here by 4:57 to make it to work by 5. So love the commute. All right. We have the Los Angeles Rams traveling to New Orleans. The Rams will be 5-6 Rams, 4-7 Saints. The Rams will be without Tyler Higbee and KT Leviston. Questionable is Alaric Jackson. The Saints are losing Lucas Patrick, Jamal Williams, Eric McCoy, and Tano Passignon are questionable. A fully charged Alvin Kamara, Derek Carr team, a halfway charged Alvin Kamara, Derek Carr team. I forgot about Chris Olave being out against the Rams with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua going. Apparently the Rams are a smash all. The Saints defense 17 yards per game, rushing yards per game versus average over, and 42 yards over average in the passing game. And then for the Rams, their defense has been where did that game go? And then for the Rams, they've been about average, a little bit more sneaky against the pass, and they allow more 17 yards per game more, just like the Saints in the rushing game. So it's going to be a battle of two backfields, and then the Rams just have too much firepower in the passing game.
Yep. Very easily Rams win, Rams cover. Actually, right. Yeah, Rams win, Rams cover over.
Unless we can see some Derek Carr magic. Let's go. Incidentally, I was thinking I was going to post a tweet today. What do Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, Barry Bonds, Brock Bowers all have in and Devontae Adams all have in common?
What?
Shout out NorCal. This is where we produce Hall of Famers. Oh, Tom Brady too, Julian Edelman also. Okay. All right. The game of Sunday. And don't forget, you guys, next Thursday is probably the best Thursday night game of the season, at least so far. It's going to be Detroit and another team. And I saw a commercial probably 5 or 6 times the last couple of days. I totally forgot who.
No, it's Packers and Lions.
Packers Lions. Tune in on the Player Profiler channel, not here on Player Profiler News, but over on the Player Profiler main channel for the Thursday night tailgate with me and Greinberg, and we're going to break down that game. It's going to be a huge Thursday night fantasy game, so you're going to want to tune into that. That'll be at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern before the game gets started. But this week, the game of the week for Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles at 9-2, traveling to Baltimore at 8-4. For the Eagles, Ben Van Sumeren and Darius Slay are out, which is big for the Ravens. Also for the Eagles, questionable are Devontae Smith and Johnny Wilson, Sidney Brown. For the Ravens, Charlie Kolar is out. Arthur Millette is out. Kyle Van Noy is doubtful. That's huge for the Eagles. Michael Pierce and TJ Tampa are questionable. If TJ Tampa is playing cornerback and the defensive coordinator calls a Tampa 2 defense, wouldn't that make it a Tampa 3? Anyway, Eagles are trying to show that they belong with the Lions, and the Baltimore Ravens are trying to show that they belong with the Chiefs and the Bills. It's a huge game. Who you got in this shootout? I've got Philly.
I got the Ravens.
Okay.
I got the Ravens.
All right. Ravens are favored by 3 at home, so it's a toss up. The Philly defense, 15 yards under average in the running game, 50 yards. We talked about the vanilla nice defense, 50 yards below average per game in the passing game, and then Baltimore 31 yards per game under average against the run, and 52 yards over in the passing game. So it's a Hurts, AJB game. Hopefully Devontae Smith gets in there. Big game for Dallas Goedert, maybe. Saquon catching some passes, some little swing routes and stuff. I think Philly takes it. Baltimore moves to 8-5, and they have to kind of like claw their way through the playoffs if they want to win the Super Bowl this year.
I like Baltimore to win just because I think this is going to come down to, basically Lamar being able to exploit the too high shell for Vic Fangio and manipulate that with using Zay Flowers, in the around the boundary, and then Mark Andrews in the middle of the field. I think Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are both excellent linebackers, but given the fact that they'll probably one of them is going to have to spy Lamar, I think that's going to lend itself. Plus Brandon Graham's out for the year. They've lost a few pass rushers. I think that this is going to be one of the games where it probably comes down to the wire, and Lamar is just going to be able to do a few more special things than Jalen Hurts would be able to.
Fair. It's an incredible battle with two teams that kind of on paper look like they're carbon copies of each other.
Yes.
Over under 145.5 total yards, Saquon and Henry.
Oh, for each one?
For each one.
I'd go under on Henry, probably over for Saquon, because there's a chance that he gets 80 and then another 60 receiving.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Henry had 140 last week against the Chargers. Yeah, 24 for 140. So, yeah, if they decide to feed him that way, then he could get there. But I think that they're probably going to forget again to give him the ball enough.
It depends on this. We talked about one of the games earlier. I forgot which one, but I was thinking whoever gets the first kickoff, I think that creates the advantage for them. And I think whoever receives the first kickoff in this one, that creates the advantage for them. Because if they can get out to a lead, they can kind of control things towards the end of the first half. Hope for a stop at the start of the second half, and then control things from there. And I think both of these teams are capable of doing that. Third down passing, I think both of them are capable. Controlling the line of scrimmage with the running backs, I think both of them are capable. I'm going to take the under on this one, because I don't see either team like escaping out to big leads or even wanting to. I think this is going to come down to, especially with the coaching staffs, this is going to be a control the ball type of game.
Yeah.
All right. And we have the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. I think this is the night game. Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Nick Bosa, Jordan Elliott, Dre Greenlaw, and Diamador Lenoir all out for the 49ers. Brock Purdy is questionable with his shoulder injury. Chris Conley, Kevin Givens, Demetrius Flanagan-Falls, and Renardo Green are questionable. For the Bills, Dalton Kincaid and Tylen Grable are out. Keon Coleman, Dwayne Carter, and Matt Milano are questionable. Sunday night, prime time. I think the Bills just have too much for the 49ers.
Agreed. Easily, Bills win and cover.
All right. And then finally, Monday night is Cleveland, Denver. Bo Nix will go to 8-5. But, depending on weather or whatever, it could become a Nick Chubb versus Bo Nix's legs kind of game if there's snow in the forecast or whatever. But, yeah, Monday Night Football will be exciting.
Yeah, Broncos win and cover.
Here's the thing about Monday Night Football. It is prime time, and sometimes there's bad games, but as long as there's a Manning cast on, it's worth watching.
100%.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get out of here. I got to go to work, and it's been fun. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week. Also, Dynasty Stock Market Tuesday morning. I will be back next week on that show, and then Thursday night tailgate. Thursday night on the Player Profiler main channel, and go ahead and pitch your podcast there.
Two Guys, One Pod FF on all social platforms. New episodes dropping Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. We're on Blue Sky. We're on X. Then I'll be on the Dynasty Pulse with Biggs and Grindberg and Schultze on Thursday nights. Titans Uncovered on the Undroppables Network. That episode will be dropping tonight or tomorrow morning, most likely. And yeah. So
Nice.
follow me on socials. If you follow my own personal page, Chev90 on platform formerly known as Twitter. That's it.
You'll find them. All right. Have a great week, you guys. Enjoy Sunday.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.